Hi, this is Jason Taylor with the Law Office of Jason E. Taylor, and we're doing another podcast, Speaking Truth to Power. I was thinking recently about all the questions one must face when you've suffered a harm. Might be just your vehicle, it might be to your vehicle and your person, it might be to yourself. And it's not your fault. You didn't cause this. And what are all of the potential issues you have to deal with, right? To some folks, it seems real straightforward, and they don't know some of the things. And to other folks, it seems terrifying. And I would agree with you, because there are a number of issues you need to consider. So let's walk through them, all right? But remember, this is, if you're riding your motorcycle and you get slammed, this applies to you. If you're the pedestrian crossing the street and you get hit by that car or whatnot, this applies to you. If you're the family on vacation, you get hit by a truck on the highway, this applies to you, okay? And let's start with first liability, right? Liability is really who's at fault. That's the question. Who's liable? Who's responsible for the harm, right? And that changes from various states, okay? And right now I'm just going to talk about North Carolina. I may reference another state like South Carolina just to kind of give you a difference, but I'll give you the general North Carolina, which is fairly unique, okay? But in North Carolina, we have what's called contributory negligence. That means the person who caused the event, the at-fault party, is the negligent party. However, if you contributed in some degree to the event that caused the harm, you are contributorily negligent, and in North Carolina, that means you're entitled to 0, right? If you're some percentage responsible for the event that caused the harm, you lose. It's an all or nothing proposition. Versus South Carolina, where if you're 1% at fault, you're entitled to 99% of the value of your case. And that goes down to a certain level where all of a sudden you don't get paid anymore. But by and large, the person who's done the majority of the harm is responsible for that cost of that majority of the harm, right? In other states, in North Carolina, and there's a few others like this, and there's some that are no-fault states, but here we talk about the issue of negligence and contributory negligence, okay? Well, that means it's important to not screw that up. If you have been involved in an event and you're dealing with the other side and their insurance carrier, you have to be very careful what you say, because while you may have done something wrong, it does not mean that it was a contributing factor to the harm. Be very, very careful. So this is one issue. All right. What are some of the other issues? Once you move beyond that, let's assume it's established that the other person caused the harm and you're entitled to be compensated. What are some of your losses? Well, you may have loss of use because your vehicle has been out of commission for a while. Maybe you have 3 cars. Well, and only one's out of use. Well, you're entitled, you own 3, you're entitled to be able to drive anyone you want on any given day you want. And so if one of them's out of commission, you may use one of your other vehicles, but you've still suffered a loss of use of that vehicle in which you're entitled to be paid. You may have on your policy a renter's reimbursement. You may use at any phase, but that other person may be responsible, and that's kind of that loss of use. If you can't use your vehicle, they either pay you for that or they pay for that rental car. So if you only have one vehicle and you had to rent something, they owe you the loss of use, which should be about the cost of the rental, okay? A lot of times you can get them to put it on their plan, meaning the insurance company pays for that rental car while your vehicle's being repaired or while it's being assessed. But it's only for the reasonable time it takes to do that, right? When they make you what they call a reasonable offer on the value of the vehicle, they may pull the rental car. And you may say, well, I don't think it's very reasonable. So it doesn't hurt for you to do your own research on the value of your vehicle. Okay? Your vehicle may be a total loss, in which case they owe you the value. They may only may be repairable. They may owe you simply the cost of getting it repaired and the time it takes to do that. Again, the loss of use. So these are some of the things. After your vehicle's been repaired, depending upon the damage, you may have a depreciation of the vehicle, so they may owe you the depreciated value of the vehicle. You may have contents in your vehicle or on your motorcycle, like your helmet, your leather coat, and your chaps that got damaged, and they owe to replace those or have them fixed or whatnot. Then there's, you may be out of work for a while, so you have your lost lost employment, your lost income that they would owe you. But it's not just what you say, it's what you can prove, right? You got to be able to prove those things. So you want to make sure if you're an independent contractor that you get that information. If you do things on people's homes and you're bidding jobs and you get some jobs and you can't do them, you want to be able to document what you got, what you had in the hopper, what you weren't able to finish, so that way you can go back and you can say, here's what I've lost, right? You got to be able to prove those things. And then, of course, you have injuries and medical treatment, and it's the cost of treating those injuries. And if those injuries result in some sort of permanent impairment, you'd be entitled for that permanent loss. You're entitled to pain and suffering for that you've suffered from those injuries. There's a whole host of things. If you're going to have an injury that's going to require some future needs, let's say you have an injury to your foot or that requires you to wear some new special shoe orthotic that then may need to be replaced every so many years. Well, those are the kinds of damages you want to make sure that you're able to get a hold of and factor in. Those are things that lawyers can often help you do, but they're things you can work on yourself. In the end, you're the most important thing you have, along with your family, but your health is first and foremost, and making sure, when anybody's been involved in an incident and they suffer a loss, they never get back to where they were supposed to be. In other words, you're entitled to compensatory damages when it's somebody else's fault. What does that mean? What does compensatory damages mean? It means to put you back in the same position you would have been in had the event not occurred, right? Doesn't get you ahead of the game, it gets you back to where you started. Well, by the time you're done and somebody gets paid for it, even if in the real world it's a great payout, 99.9% of the people will tell you it wasn't worth it. They would have rather have pulled off the road 5 minutes early, or turned off the car, never left the house that day. They would have rather have not had the event occur, because what they recovered for it did not make them whole, right? And nobody ever feels like they were made whole. So in the end, knowing you're never going to get what you really feel like you should have gotten for all the headaches, pain, and difficulties you went through, help yourself to document them and make the effort to get what you need, because in the end, if you get paid on that stuff, you're still going to feel like you were left behind to some degree. So don't get in your own way, okay? Help yourself. Document the losses, see the people you need to see, ask the questions, get a lawyer, and make sure they're addressing these questions for you, all right? A lot of times when you say something to the insurance company, right, it's a statement that can be used against you, right? You're the party. If you say something, it's your words, it's evidence, right? If your lawyer says something for you, it's hearsay. It's not admissible, okay? It puts somebody between you and the insurance company, but not only somebody between you and them, but somebody who knows or should know how to handle that insurance company and how to protect your interests. Because in the end, making sure you are happy, healthy, and whole is the most important thing you can do. All my best. Take care.